against England. You know, I asked everybody to be patient because I have to go into some historical stuff. And I know history can tend to be a little boring, but in order, I would like to connect the dots from there right up to the present, because it's very important that we understand what exactly is going on and why this is started. And basically, with the people wanting to separate from England, they had waged the war back in the early formation of this country, and they didn't have enough money to finance the war. And basically, they borrowed money from the Bank of Paris, which was a Rothschild bank, and that's who funded the war against England. Now, they had won, you know, they had separated from England, as most of us are taught in history class. But what we're not taught is when the American people defaulted on the loan, it severed the contract and the freedom that they had from England, because they now went into default. And all the stuff that's going on from that point is based on that default. Now, personal bankruptcy takes 7 years. A country's bankruptcy happens every 7 years. And it's very important that we understand that this bankruptcy, every 70 years till now, we've had to renegotiate the bankruptcy. And every time, let me get into the historical timing, every time we renegotiated that bankruptcy, we lost certain rights. But before, let me go back to, I'm jumping around a bit. I'm asking people to be patient. But I'm going back now to the trust. Now, these two trusts, the Citus Trust and the Cestui Trust, they were created at birth. We each had 30 days after our 18th birthday to contact the state and the county registrar and let them know that we are of majority age and we are going to take over the trust that was created through the birth certificate and the Social Security. And because most of us are never taught this, because most of us never had done this, the trustees of this trust, which is the county or the state, in New York it's the county registrar, everywhere else it's the state registrar. Because we did not inform them that we would be taking over as beneficiary of the trust, we should have wrote a letter to the state registrar stating you will not assume beneficiary status of the trust. I am the beneficiary of the trust, and I accept that position now. But because we didn't do that, the trust, the beneficiary of the trust becomes the state. And this is how they make money from your birth certificate and your Social Security, because we weren't aware that a trust existed, we did not take control of the trust, the state became the beneficiary of that trust. I want us to understand that every single thing we do in commerce is basically in a trust format, whether we understand that or not. When you purchase a home and you buy a mortgage, you know, when you signed your name on that mortgage, on that promissory note, that property was paid for. I'm going to try to go into that more deeply later on. And then when we proceeded to sign the mortgage paper, we did a reconveying the property back to the bank. What we understand that because we are in a bankruptcy, first of all, and this is stuff that I say should be taught in first grade. A bankruptcy refers to... You have to understand that when you're in a bankruptcy, everything is reversed. So if you have money of value in a bankruptcy, there is no money of value. Everything in commerce is reversed due to a bankruptcy state. So everything that we think we understand about money is incorrect because we're not factoring in that it's a bankruptcy. Okay. Now, these things that the Cyrus Trust created, it also created titles. Like a birth certificate is a title. A deed to your house is a title. A car has a title. Basically, when we gave up our right to control these corporations that were created on our behalf, we gave title to the state. So, in essence, they control. This is how the state controls the people. And what they did was they took these titles, these legal titles, and they put bonds behind them, and they were purchased by the international bankers, the IMF, etc. So basically, they have control over the corporate entities of the people. Now, because the people are not aware that this whole national character was created, that we are being used against ourselves, there was no rebuttal to this. There was no protest. And in commerce, you have a right, if you don't say anything, it is assumed that you agree with it. And if you haven't made any protest, any documentation, it is assumed that you agree with the commercial transaction that's taking place. Now, if the commercial transaction, if you're unaware of it, they're not concerned about that. So basically, every 7 years since 1789, we've had to renew the bankruptcy. The last time this happened was in 1933. In 1933, basically the people were mortgaged to save the country itself through the creation of the birth certificate. And basically, this debt has continued over into 2000. It was actually, the bankruptcy ended in 2000. And then in 2008, where we are now, this is why we're having such financial crisis, because the bankruptcy has to be re-ratified. Now, back to the jurisdiction A and jurisdiction B. Jurisdiction A is where we would like to be. But if we have been moved from natural law to man-made law, most of us are operating in jurisdiction B. And in jurisdiction B, all of these rules and controls are applying. But if you're able to maintain your natural state under natural, then you can navigate in jurisdiction B, through taking commercial control of your straw man, but not being subjected to all the rules that come with it. So basically, where we're at now is we're seeing the complete commercial meltdown of all of these contracts that has been going on for years. And this can all basically be changed if we began to operate in jurisdiction A as creditor. And basically, when you're a creditor, you're taking commercial control and you are navigating as a responsible entity, navigating in commerce. Let me post this somebody else. Okay, a lot of these contracts, basically, all of these contracts are ongoing, and the Magna Carta was very much instrumental also in removing us from